You know those new nagging feelings? Are they just a part of getting older, or could they be a quiet alarm from your kidneys? It's true, many seniors tend to overlook subtle signs, not realizing their health might be at risk. These could very well be symptoms of high creatinine, which often points to kidney issues. And recognizing these signs early on? Well, that can prevent serious problems down the road. So, in this discussion, we're going to uncover 5 commonly missed creatinine symptoms in seniors, and we'll really emphasize why taking quick action is so crucial for your overall well-being. Number 1, fatigue and weakness. All right, kicking things off with our first point, number 1, fatigue and weakness. Now, one of the most common, yet so often dismissed symptoms linked to high creatinine levels is a really deep sense of fatigue and weakness. We're not just talking about feeling tired after a busy day here. This is more of a persistent, all-over tiredness that can feel quite overwhelming. Seniors might find themselves feeling unusually sluggish, lacking the energy for their usual routine, or noticing a real drop in their stamina. And sometimes, muscle weakness can come along with this fatigue, making physical activities tougher than they used to be, and occasionally even causing a bit of unsteadiness. It's incredibly common, isn't it, for older adults and even their caregivers to chalk up this kind of fatigue and weakness to just, well, getting older. You'll hear things like, "Oh, I'm just slowing down," or "It's just my age." Same. Sometimes, if someone's less active, maybe due to other discomforts that come with age, that gets the blame. But here's the thing. When your kidneys aren't working at their best and creatinine levels go up, this fatigue can actually be a direct physical signal from your body that needs attention. It's not necessarily just a part of aging. So, how are high creatinine and fatigue connected? Well, it boils down to the kidney's reduced ability to filter out waste products from the blood. Creatinine itself is one of these waste products, and when it builds up, it's a sign that the kidneys aren't filtering efficiently. And when the kidneys are impaired, other toxins can accumulate in the body too. These can interfere with all sorts of things, like how your body produces energy and how your muscles function. Plus, anemia, which is a frequent partner to kidney disease because the kidneys produce less of a hormone called erythropoietin, can also make you feel really tired and weak. Now, this kind of persistent fatigue can have a really big impact on a senior's daily life. Someone who was once quite active might lose interest in their hobbies, social get-togethers, or even find it hard to manage basic self-care. They might need to nap more often, which can throw off their whole daily schedule. Over time, this can lead to a loss of independence, as simple everyday tasks turn into exhausting chores. And this drop in activity and engagement, it can also affect their mood and even their thinking, further impacting their quality of life if that underlying kidney problem isn't sorted out. So, it's really crucial to tell the difference between this kind of persistent, unexplained fatigue and the normal tiredness that can come with age. If the fatigue is severe, if it comes on fairly suddenly, or if it shows up with other new symptoms, that's definitely a reason to talk to a healthcare provider. Just brushing it off could mean missing an early warning sign of kidney trouble. Recognizing this as a potential red flag is really the first step toward getting a proper diagnosis and the right care. And while fatigue can stem from many things, its connection to kidney health is one we shouldn't overlook, especially as we begin to explore some of the other subtle signs. Number 2, changes in urination patterns. Moving on to our second point, number 2, changes in urination patterns. Here's another set of symptoms that often go unnoticed, changes in how and when you urinate. These changes can show up in a few different ways, and because urinary issues are pretty common in older adults for all sorts of reasons, their link to kidney health can be easy to miss. For instance, seniors might find they're needing to go more often, especially during the night. That's a condition known as nocturia, and it can really mess with sleep and lead to tiredness during the day. On the flip side, some people might see a clear decrease in how much urine they're passing, even if they're drinking plenty of fluids. Other changes can involve how the urine actually looks. If it seems foamy or bubbly, that could mean there's protein in it, which is a sign the kidney's filtering system isn't working quite right. Urine that's consistently dark, say, like tea or cola, might also hint at kidney problems. The same goes for urine that looks pink, red, or brown, as this could indicate the presence of blood, a condition doctors call hematuria. Now, while these changes can sound alarming, sometimes they're subtle or they come and go, making it easy to just dismiss them or think they're due to something else. It's common for seniors and their families to just brush off these urinary symptoms. They might think it's just an aging bladder, or perhaps prostate issues for men, or even the side effects from some medications. For example, having to get up more at night to use the bathroom is often just accepted as an unavoidable part of getting older, or linked to things like an enlarged prostate. And while those are certainly possible reasons, it's really important not to forget the crucial role kidneys play in producing urine and getting rid of waste. These changes can be a direct reflection of declining kidney function. You see, our kidneys are essential for keeping our body's fluid balance in check and for filtering waste out of our blood to make urine. When kidney function starts to decline, their ability to concentrate urine, filter blood properly, and manage fluid levels can be affected. This might mean you urinate more as the kidneys struggle to get rid of waste, or if the damage is more serious, you might urinate less. And if there's protein or blood in the urine, that's a direct sign of damage to the kidney's tiny filtering units. So, the takeaway here is that any new or ongoing changes in urination habits or how your urine looks should definitely prompt a chat with your doctor. This is especially true if these changes come along with some of the other symptoms we're talking about today. Simple urine tests can quickly help figure out if there's an underlying kidney issue. Ignoring these signals could mean delaying the diagnosis of a condition that could be quite serious. It's so important to understand how your kidneys might be trying to tell you something through these changes. And speaking of signals, next up, we'll explore how kidneys can also show distress through fluid retention. Number 3, swelling and fluid retention. All right, let's dive into our third point. Number 3, swelling and fluid retention. Swelling, or what doctors call edema, especially in your legs, ankles, and feet, is another really significant symptom that could point to problems with kidney function and those elevated creatinine levels. This fluid buildup usually shows up in the lower body, but for some folks, they might also see puffiness in their hands or around their face, particularly when they first wake up. The swelling can be quite subtle to begin with. Maybe you just notice your shoes feeling a bit snug, or that if you press on your skin, the little dent stays there for a moment. Now, why does the swelling happen? It's directly tied to the kidney's main job, keeping our body's fluid and salt balance just right. Healthy kidneys are constantly filtering out extra fluid and sodium from our blood, which then leaves our body as urine. But when kidney function is impaired, they're not as good at getting rid of this excess fluid and salt. So, what happens? That fluid starts to build up in the body's tissues, causing that visible swelling. Often, this is one of the more obvious signs that your body's fluid regulation system isn't working as it should. Unfortunately, mild to even moderate swelling often gets overlooked by seniors, or they might think it's due to other common things that happen as we age. For instance, they might just assume it's because they've been standing or sitting for a long time, or maybe it's varicose veins, or even a side effect from medications they take for blood pressure or something else. Some people might also think it's related to heart conditions, and it's true, heart problems can cause similar symptoms. That's why it's so important for a healthcare professional to do a proper checkup to find out exactly what's causing it. If kidney problems are indeed the culprit and they get worse, this fluid retention can become much more severe and spread further. This advanced swelling or edema can lead to discomfort, skin that looks stretched and shiny, difficulty walking, and even a higher risk of skin infections or sores. In more serious cases, a major fluid overload can really put a strain on the heart and blood vessels. This could contribute to, or even worsen, conditions like congestive heart failure, where the heart has a tough time pumping because of all that extra fluid. So, getting to the bottom of why there's fluid retention is absolutely key. And believe it or not, sometimes this fluid buildup can even affect how well you breathe. Number 4, shortness of breath. That brings us to number 4, shortness of breath. Feeling short of breath, or what doctors term dyspnea, can certainly be a scary experience. And while we often link it to heart or lung issues, it can also be a major sign that kidney function is declining and creatinine levels are up. This trouble breathing happens when damaged kidneys can't properly get rid of excess fluid from the body. That fluid can then start to collect in the lungs, a condition called pulmonary edema, which makes it hard for your lungs to fill up with air and get oxygen to where it needs to go efficiently. When shortness of breath is related to kidney problems, it might creep up on you gradually. At first, someone might only notice feeling breathless when they're doing something physical, like climbing stairs or walking quickly. But as kidney function gets worse and that fluid buildup increases, shortness of breath can happen with very little activity, or even when you're just resting. Some people find it especially hard to breathe when they're lying down flat. This is called orthopnea, and they often need to use several pillows to prop themselves up just to sleep comfortably. Now, because shortness of breath is such a classic symptom of both heart and lung diseases, which are also pretty common in older adults, its link to kidney trouble often gets missed or misdiagnosed. A senior who's feeling breathless might go through a lot of tests for heart failure or COPD, while the actual kidney problem remains hidden. This overlap in symptoms really highlights why a thorough medical checkup, one that looks at all possible causes, is so important. I really can't stress enough how urgent it is to get medical help if you experience shortness of breath. This is especially true if it's a new symptom, if it's suddenly gotten worse, or if it comes with other signs that might point to kidney issues or fluid retention, like swollen legs or that unexplained fatigue we talked about. Getting a quick diagnosis and managing the underlying cause, whether it's mainly related to the heart, lungs, or kidneys, is absolutely vital to prevent serious complications and lead to better health. And it's interesting, beyond physical symptoms like breathlessness, kidney issues can also have a subtle impact on the mind. Number 5, confusion, trouble sleeping, or headaches. And that leads us perfectly into number 5, confusion, trouble sleeping, or headaches. You see, beyond the physical symptoms we often hear about, high creatinine levels and the toxin buildup in the blood that comes with it, sometimes called uremic toxins, can also cause a variety of issues with thinking and the nervous system. This might show up as noticeable confusion or trouble concentrating, memory problems that seem worse than just normal age-related forgetfulness, ongoing difficulty sleeping, also known as insomnia, or frequent headaches that you just can't explain. These symptoms pop up because those toxins, which healthy kidneys would usually filter out, can actually affect how the brain works. When seniors start to experience these kinds of thinking or neurological changes, they don't always link them to a physical problem like kidney disease. They might be a bit hesitant to mention things like confusion or memory issues because they're worried about being diagnosed with something like dementia or Alzheimer's. Or they, and sometimes their family members too, might just put it down to, oh, they're just getting older, or perhaps stress. This can unfortunately delay getting a diagnosis that could be really important. And things like headaches and trouble sleeping, well, those are also easy to blame on other common issues or just lifestyle. It's important to realize that delaying help for these neurological symptoms can carry significant risks. If confusion or thinking problems get worse, it can seriously affect a senior's safety, their independence, and their overall quality of life. And crucially, symptoms like these, especially when they show up along with other signs like fatigue or swelling, can be a warning that kidney disease is getting more serious. In some situations, they might also point to related problems like severe high blood pressure or imbalances in body salts and minerals, which can further impact heart and brain health. So, it's absolutely vital for seniors, their families, and anyone caring for them to know that changes in mental sharpness, sleep habits, or new ongoing headaches could actually be linked to broader health issues, including kidney problems. Reporting these symptoms to a doctor, particularly if they're new or seem to be getting worse, is the best way to get a complete checkup and find out the cause. Now that we've covered these 5 symptoms, perhaps understanding a bit more about what creatinine actually is and how it ties into kidney health will help make sense of why all these different symptoms can pop up. How creatinine relates to kidney health. So, let's talk a little about how creatinine relates to kidney health. What exactly is creatinine? Well, it's a natural waste product that our bodies make from normal muscle activity. Our kidneys have the very important job of filtering this creatinine out of our blood, and then it leaves our body in our urine. Now, when kidney function starts to decline, they become less efficient at this filtering job. And because of that, creatinine levels in the bloodstream begin to go up. So, it's important to remember that a high creatinine level isn't the cause of kidney problems itself, but it's a really key signal that the kidneys aren't working as well as they ought to be. It's also really helpful to understand the difference between acute and chronic kidney issues, especially when we're talking about seniors. There's something called acute kidney injury, or AKI, which is when there's a sudden loss of kidney function. The good news here is that sometimes this can be reversed if it's caught and treated quickly. Then there's chronic kidney disease, often called CKD. This type develops more gradually, over months or even years, and often the symptoms in the early stages are quite subtle. A high creatinine level can be a sign of either AKI or CKD, and that's why regular monitoring is so valuable. It helps doctors keep an eye on kidney health over time and figure out exactly what's going on. When to seek help. Now, this leads us to a very important question: when to seek help. Knowing the red flags that call for urgent medical attention is absolutely key. If you, or a senior you're caring for, experience any sudden changes, things like severe swelling, real difficulty breathing, significant confusion, or a sudden drop in how much urine they're passing, please seek medical attention right away. These signs could mean that kidney function is declining rapidly, or that there's a serious complication. The good news is that there are simple blood and urine tests readily available that can check how well the kidneys are functioning. A blood test can measure your serum creatinine level, and this result is often used to calculate something called your glomerular filtration rate, or eGFR. That's a key measure of how efficiently your kidneys are working. A urine test is also very useful, as it can check for things like protein or blood, which, as we've discussed, are also important signs related to kidney health. And perhaps most importantly, keeping that line of communication open with your healthcare providers is paramount. Please, don't hesitate to talk about any new or worrying symptoms you might have, even if they seem small or you think they're unrelated. Catching and managing kidney disease early can make a huge difference in slowing it down and preventing more serious health problems later on. It's all about helping to preserve your overall well-being. So, to wrap things up, Recognizing those subtle or often overlooked symptoms related to creatinine in seniors early on can truly dramatically improve health outcomes. It means getting a timely diagnosis and starting treatment sooner rather than later. So please, don't ignore these warning signs. Being proactive about kidney health is so important for maintaining a good quality of life and staying independent. Remember, paying attention to the signals your body is sending you is a really powerful step towards better health. And finally, if you found this information helpful today, we'd love it if you'd share it with your family and friends, especially anyone who might be caring for aging loved ones. Do consider subscribing for more insights into senior health, or feel free to leave a comment below with your own experiences or any questions you might have. Your story could genuinely help someone else spot these hidden signs and get the help they need sooner.